like to ask Captain Ron Fields. I'd like to introduce y'all to him again. Captain Ron Fields is a part of my cities, my municipality where I live, Millbrook. Yes, old force. He's been a part of my family a long time, and we love him. But he's here with us from the Millbrook Police Department, and Captain Fields is going to talk to us about how law enforcement gets involved with bullying. What's their role in this thing? Sir, I give the floor to you. Thank you. Welcome.
Y'all look, I'm loud already, so I keep it loud. But I appreciate that. I appreciate being on the panel, speaking with people. Look, I'm going to talk a little bit about organized. We've always had organized college. I'll give you a little personal history. I've been bullied. At one time, by my own family, I had family members that told me, because at a young age, I was a big guy. I had a man's body for a child's mind. At that point, I looked at my cousin together. That was big. I was stupid. You know, I learned later on that certain motor skills that your brain doesn't develop as fast as your body does sometimes. So I wasn't stupid. I didn't realize that. But at some point in your life, when people tell you something that's supposed to care about you, that you're that, you tend to start believing. Because why would they tell you that if it's not true? Later on, I figured out there was a reason why I had this big body. But those little bodies I can knock down, so it ended up benefiting me. By playing football and so on too. If it wasn't for playing ball and being involved in athletics, the people appreciated me for who I was. So thank the Lord for a praying grandmother and grandfather. Raised me and having those opportunities. Let's turn around to the good. And stuff like that can lead to depression. I've been depressed. You know, you sit there and you wonder why people want to be that way. You know, as an innocent kid with a lot of things going on in your life, it will happen that way. So, you know, love is the key. Everything that said and love is definitely key. And that's why we have the word. Because the word is love, and that's why we need it. I'd like to go to one of the guys in the book of Daniel. He was bullied, quite frankly. He was able to interpret dreams. Anybody who's read the book, I won't go into it. He was bullied. He was bullied by other people who were jealous of him. They were jealous of the fact that he could interpret dreams, he had king's favor, and all that. We know what happened to the whole thing. He went ahead, and the king was tricked into making out a proclamation that whoever prayed to any other god besides the God that he assigned, be thrown to the lion's den. We all know the story. But these other folks that knew Daniel prayed, they bullied him. They bullied him and they got after him because of his beliefs. So it is today. Daniel got thrown in the lion's den, But thankfully, by the grace of God, he made it through. We're going to be bullied simply because we're minorities. Has anything changed today? I know you all watch the news. You know what's going on today. I don't have no problem with a young man or woman that wants to get out there and earn their keep. The only problem I have with somebody is when they don't respect the law and do something contrary to what they're supposed to be doing. And guess what? All of our laws that are in this country come from the Bible. So we shouldn't be fighting against the book that got us where we are today. KKK. Another example of big bullies. That's all they are. They bullied us, predominantly blacks and immigrants, because they wanted us to be submissive to them. Mm-hmm. They wanted to feel like they were superior to us. And that's a lot of times what bullies do. They want to get in organized groups and cliques, as we can put it, that make them feel like they're superior for whatever reason. And that's why we have some, the KKK went as far as to take people and lynch them, beat them, take their businesses from them, put undue stipulations on them. You couldn't go places, you couldn't do things. That's another form of bullying. I became involved in it. I can remember going down to visit someone on Jeff Davis, where they used to have the health clinic. Still had they painted over with white, but they still had colored and white water fountains down there. So, I mean, we participated as a government in that. Gangs, nothing but organized bullies. That's all they are. They take advantage like they tried to take advantage of this young man here. You know, and my granddaddy told me something a long time ago, God rest his soul. Son, there's people that gonna do stuff and they want people to go along with it. And he gave an example, and you got to understand this gentleman had a 3rd grade education, but he had a lot of mother wit. He took care of all his children. He made sure that we went to school, we got an education, we did the right thing. He wasn't afforded that opportunity. He was one generation up from slavery. He told me, he said, you can go around, you can hang a piece of dog crap around your neck. If you can send enough, I guarantee somebody have a bigger piece around their neck the next 2 weeks. That's the drift of our society. We tend to involve ourselves in things that are outlandish, things that are foolish. We forget our purpose. We become one track. Now, it's another thing that we have to guard against as parents. And I'm going to give you a little acronym that you might want to remember. We ended up having parents that are BRAFs, biologically adult-related friends. That's what we end up being as parents. You can't do that. Children want discipline. They want to be taught in a manner such as respect. They want to have an understanding about life. You should have an understanding because you're older. But a lot of times we become as foolish as a child. You can't allow yourself to be that BRAF. I see a lot of that in law enforcement. You go into a home, the child feels like he's equal to the mother or the father. They have just as much conversation for you as the child. That cannot happen. Somebody has to be in charge. If you're not raising. And we do a poor job of that. And it leads to some of the problems that we have. Because if you do that, say your child decides he or she needs a cell phone, seen a lot of instances of it. You give your child 8 or 9 years old a cell phone, and you give them access to the internet, and you don't monitor it, something bad is going to happen. I've seen that a lot. Young ladies, we had a group of young ladies, I'll tell you one little story. They decided to get these 2 young girls, because they were friends' phones, as a gift. Nothing wrong with that. But in the long run, these 2 young ladies were conversing with a young man that was 35 years old, and he was sending them illicit pictures, teaching them how to expose themselves to him, and the girls didn't tell their parents. They were enjoying the attention, and being part of what was going on. And eventually one mother had enough for just and put a stop to it. There's a lot of that goes on, people. You cannot be a BRAF to your children. Now, technology has made it easy for the coward to hide. Just like this 35-year-old gentleman had an opportunity, he could hide. Technology makes it easy for the coward to get on Facebook and harass somebody, bully them. You know, you got to notice the signs. You know, it's hard. We're busy. I'm a busy man. I'm sure everybody's busy because they have to make it. But you have to pay attention to what you're in charge of. If you leave a pot on the stove, it's going to do 2 things if you put water in it. So, it's going to boil over, it's going to burn. You decide what happens to that pot. And that pot is your child. You need to watch it. All the time I look in my neighborhood, I see kids, they come in one door and the parents come in another. Nobody's paying attention to the child. Child sitting out there, he has a device, he has, I'll tell you, I'm bold enough. I'm that parent that tells kids, loud, unsavory music on your phone, to say the least. You can turn that down. You can put your earplugs in if you want to listen at that. That music's not good enough for you to be walking down my street cursing out loud, for me to hear, my wife to hear, or any other child in the neighborhood. You can put that up. But so many parents make like they don't hear. And we don't hear some of the things that we need to hear. So we need to put a stop to that. I'll talk about Title 13A. Title 13A in the state of Alabama is going to be your fighting stick. 13A, 11-8. You can look it up at your leisure. I have a printout of it here if you want to get a copy of it. What it simply states is it talks about harassment and harassing communications. Okay? You can call your local law enforcement agency. We can come out and do a report. We can let you go down and see the magistrate. You have up to a year to sign a warrant. You can see the magistrate, fill out an affidavit, and you can get a warrant. You can sign a juvenile petition, which is just a juvenile affidavit stating that you need a warrant. You will go to juvenile court. You can make these young bullies accountable. But if you do nothing, you allow them to continue to do what they're doing. And people take pride in it. They'll involve another. They'll get somebody else. And before long, there's a lot of weight that's on a young man and woman's shoulders. So you have to use the tools that are available to you. Now, as law enforcement, we try to get in our schools. We try to get partnership with our counselors. We try to identify things that may be happening. There's a lot of it that goes on in school. There's a lot of wannabe gang members. There's a lot of wannabe just social groups. And I hate to say this, some of our young females are worse than the guys. They will talk about one another in a heartbeat.
Yep, they sure will.
Nasty. They get on Facebook and they will talk. They will stir up fights. We've had incidents where there was one nice event we used to have in Millbrook summer. It was, for the most part, we had people that were decent and in order, were going to do what they were supposed to do. But what put the event to the end was some young people decided to get on Facebook. They were going to have a big fight. Because one little group, wannabe gang group, was going to fight another little group of guys who they felt like they needed to be in control of. So it was amazing to me that we knew about it, and this didn't stop those young people, because when the day came, everybody was out there, young women, young men, everybody had their little phone on, everybody wanted to videotape this big fight. So sadly, we had to come in and be law enforcement, put a stop to the fight. The only way we knew how, by force. And those young men that decided they wanted to fight right now, presence, they were shamefully handled and taken to jail. Now, it's unfortunate, but in the long run, we stop people from losing their lives, somebody from getting shanked or shot, and that kind of thing. Young people, help your parents. Stay away if you can from the negative influences in your life. We've all had. You're going to have to make a decision at some point. At some point in your life, you're going to have to look in your own mirror. It's not going to be your parent's decision. It's not going to be your brother's sister's decision. You're going to have to look in your own mirror and decide which way you want to go in life. It's going to be totally up to you. You're going to have to decide whether you're going to be a praying person or you're just going to be an evil person and take on life as it is. I would suggest to you that you're not going to win with that route. If you don't decide that you're going to pray about things, you don't decide that you're not going to have any faith, you're not going to make it. I can't do it in my job. You know, even though I'm charged with enforcing the laws of the state of Alabama, I feel like it's a calling as if any other calling is. You can't do this job without some kind of faith.
Amen.
You can't do this job without a strong basis. It's not going to happen. And that's why over 27 years I've seen a lot of people fail. It's just not a job you can go on and not take it to heart. Because you're going to encounter some things you have never seen before. You're going to encounter some situations in people's lives. It will seem as if something that you never think possible. But these situations exist. And simply because a lot of these people, this is their life. It is warm milk to them. What you see is as slop and degrading and nasty. This is warm milk to them. This is the way they live. And I'll say this. Sadly, I know a family that lives in our jurisdiction. Every young male in the household has been incarcerated. Every one.
Mercy.
It is sad. And sadly, in this family of those young men, there's been some guys that have been, because I coached at the high school, there's been some guys that have been some outstanding athletes. But their social skills, they have none. There's no talk of prayer in their homes. Only talk is about guns and drugs and ignorance. And they will bully other people because they feel like their way of living is wrong. So what can you do for somebody like that? Several of the young men from that family, it was always about prayer. It was always about, look, you can do better than the next one. Now there's one guy out of, I'll give you about 10 or 12, there's one guy, he hadn't been to jail yet.
All right.
Now, that is a small victory, but it's one out of many that we need to accomplish. I appreciate your time. If we'll be prayerful for one another, we'll all make it together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain Fields. We appreciate you sharing information with us about bullying and how law enforcement, gets involved, and just some of the experiences that you've had with your line of work. And you said something that I'm glad you said, because it's something that I actually was studying this morning. And because a lot of times, we go to work, right? We work. We got jobs. I got a job now, y'all. I have to get up again every morning early. And you go to work, and there's a thing. They got signs about it. What's that word? Starts with the H. I'm pronouncing it harassment. Others pronounce it harassment. And so I had to, in my studies this morning as I was preparing my notations here, I had to know, is harassment considered bullying? I mean, in my mind it is, but I had to look it up. And it is. It's a form of bullying. So I think for sharing that, and I'm not going to go into that, but if y'all are experiencing that in the workplace, read them signs on the wall. They tell you what to do, and you can do it. In this state, too. I'm going to leave that alone. I have some more information I wanted to share with you all. I'm going to ask you to hold this thing. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I have some more statistics and data I wanted to share, okay? And this has to do with what we're doing right now. See y'all live. Different ones. Damien, Miss Peggy is here. You know she's here. Damien's watching. Cyberbullying. Does anyone know what cyberbullying is? What is it, Dr. Moore? Can you repeat that one more time? What's cyberbullying? Wow. Cyberbullying. I actually had to write a paper on it last year. That was very interesting. So, here's some more data for you. And we always try to justify or substantiate what we're talking about, right? So we want to share some evidence-based research with you. Among high school students, 15.5% are cyberbullied, and 20.2% are bullied on school property. That comes to us from the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, in Atlanta in 2015. Also, among middle school students, 24% are cyberbullied, and 45% are bullied on school property. Also from the CDC, 2015. Now, the percentages of individuals who have experienced cyberbullying at some point in their lifetimes has nearly doubled from 18% to 34% just from the year 2007 to the year 2016. That's from Patchen and Hindija, authors, 2016. Lastly, 90% of teenagers who, keyword here, who report, who tell somebody that they have been cyberbullied, they have also been bullied offline, on the street, wherever. This is from the article 7 Fears of Science, of how mobile technologies may be influenced